Good morning, everybody. It's a Friday in October that actually finally feels like fall is here. Seasons are changing. Time when I think people are getting more into cooking, that there's a whole new season of what to do. And my pal, Bill St. John, who I think you all know from writing for the Post, for everything else he does now, has the most amazing webpage. Well, it is, Bill. So I'm going to have you tell everybody about it again. Good morning. How are you?
Hey, Pat. Hi, guys. I'm pretty well today. It's Friday, end of the week, but so I like that. I like the day of Friday. I wake up with a lot to do, but I know that at the end of the day, I'm going to have that great feeling of having done it and get ready for my weekend.
And I think you're a grandpa now.
Yeah, that's I was just going to say. This weekend involves some grandbaby sitting, which I'm very excited about too.
Oh,
so.
What fun for you.
Yeah, he's taking his first steps. Yeah, so.
Oh, now you have to watch everything in the
house. He's mobile.
Yeah, that's bad. When they're little, put them down and you're safe. And then when they get big, there's other problems. But nonetheless, okay, tell me the name and all about this new endeavor that you've been doing a few months now.
It's just a little over 6 months old. This site that I built with the help of a friend, Joe Rassenfoss, who was a former editor of mine, both at the Rocky Mountain News and also at a thing called sidewalk.com that we did with Microsoft in the late 90s. It was a city guide for the Denver area. And it's the site is called, the actual URL is billstjohn.com. It's my domain, but the site is called Get Cooking with Bill St. John. It's a kind of a play on words because it means two things, the word get, like, do you get how to do this? So you can educate yourself with the site and its recipes and talk and food stories and so forth. And it's also an exhortative. It's like, get cooking. Let's get cooking, because I want people to feel comfortable cooking. It's one of the great things that a human being can do for him or herself or themselves, and also for their family and friends. So the genesis of it was after I've been writing about food and wine and restaurants and food and wine combinations and about food making and cooking for close to 40 years now, since 1983. In fact, 40 years. And March of 1983, when I started writing for the Rocky Mountain News. And I have about 5,000 articles around in print or on the internet, because that's what happened when they went from print to the internet, under my name. And I had been working for the Denver Post through 2022, but I kind of got tired of it, and I wanted to put all of this stuff that I had in one place so that people could access these many hundreds of articles on food and wine and cooking. Restaurant reviews aren't posted simply because they're time sensitive. Most of my work, yeah, as you know.
Well, those days are gone.
Yeah, that's just that doesn't work for people. But the stuff that's evergreen that people can use to cook with or drink with, understand their pantry, their kitchen, their table, is important to me, and I wanted to kind of put it all in one place so people didn't have to look for stuff if they didn't. If they wanted to, they could. But the point is, I wanted to put it all in one place, and that's what I've been doing over the last 6 months, is putting this stuff that I have in different categories: cooking and drinking and appreciating wine and understanding food ingredients and understanding food history. I put all of that on this site, and of course it's growing because I can't do it all at once, but I have been doing adding to it week by week by week. So it's a resource for people, I hope, and I hope it's well designed and well navigated so that people can figure out where to get stuff, how to search for things. But my idea was just simply to put in one place, one internet, one ether place, the stuff, much of the stuff that I've written over the last 40 years.
No, I mean, it's great because you have recipes, but then you have the pantry of what you should have in your pantry and ingredients, where they're from, then the story of each, well, the history of how something started. It's really fun as well as informative to read. And I love reading about the wines and the foods and all that.
Thank you.
It's,
Well, yeah, and I hope more and more people love it for that reason. I mean, that's the point. Is it's there. Last week I did an email newsletter, which I do every Wednesday. People can subscribe to that and get that on Wednesday, just like the food section used to come on Wednesdays. That's the idea. And so, and there's information there about what's available on the site and how the site is structured and so forth. Last week I did precisely that, because I had been getting from people who get the newsletter and go to the site and see the site, people like you who like the site, saying to me, hey, you should do a book. And I understand what they're saying. There's this idea, I think, in our culture that putting something on paper with ink and binding it is more permanent than anything else that you might do as a writer. But these days, there are many kinds of books. And what I've got there for you in that site is a book. Right. And so if you're interested in certain recipes for chicken, or if you're interested in learning about how Europe got the tomato, because they didn't get it natively, it came from us after Columbus, you can read about all of that on the site and learn. That's one of the words, get. You can get it. And I think learning about something is really, it has been very important for me in my appreciation of that thing. If you understand how corn came to be, not just cooking with it, but how it came to be, you can have a real appreciation for it when you are cooking it and making dishes out of it. And so I just find that kind of discursive writing also very, very interesting and helpful to me in my own cooking.
I think today it's much more fun than a book.
Yeah.
I mean, because today, I wonder how you make blah, blah, blah. I can find it, whether it's a pasta or chicken or whatever it is. Now, autumn is here. I think the summer vegetables are saying bye-bye.
They're saying goodbye, yeah.
And I'm down to the last BLT.
Yep, same here. I'm picking up my last tomatoes off of my own vines or bushes.
They were really late this year.
Very late, very, very 2 or 3 weeks late in most cases.
Right, because I still am having some. They're not from me, they're from my friend who grows fabulous tomatoes. Are just coming now.
Yeah, right, exactly.
They're about to go. So, like on your site, what are you featuring right now before I ask about Thanksgiving?
Yeah, that's good. That's a very good question, because it helps me think about what I'll do for next week's email. But because obviously we're going to be doing a bunch for Thanksgiving in a month's time or prior to that, so people can prep for Thanksgiving, which is a really important thing to do. Thanksgiving isn't just cooking that dinner. It's a whole bunch of stuff that one does during the month of November to get ready for that dinner, or even to participate.
Well, your method of making a turkey changed mine and everybody else's life.
Oh, really? The spatchcocking? You mean the flattening of it? Oh, yeah. I find that was one of the great things for me to find how to cook a turkey better. It doesn't look like Norman Rockwell's turkey, but it tastes like Julia Child's turkey, which is fine with me.
I'll take Julia. Thank you.
Yeah, right. So, no, I think that I'm going to start talking more about, or trying to point people to recipes for things like soups and stews, and also winter squashes, cooking with winter vegetables like squashes, and the root vegetables that still are going to be hanging around for a while, beets and turnips and rutabaga and the great potato. I'm half Belgian, and we invented French fries. A lot of people don't know that, but we did.
I thought that was the only vegetable in the world.
Well, yeah, that's right. And so I'm quite in love with potatoes. I married a person of Irish extract, and so potatoes were very important to her and our family and her family as well. So anyway, the point is, this is the kind of season for foods like this to start showing up in the kitchens and on the stoves.
Well, potatoes, forget mashed potatoes. I think, blech. I think you can do so many wonderful potato dishes.
You can.
I've
There's
been in a restaurant where I think the potato is the best thing they have.
yeah, well, it's where I was watching this movie the other day. Oh, it's Pride and Prejudice, the new one with Matthew McFadden and Keira Knightley in the lead roles. And there was a scene where one of the people who was courting some of the daughters in the story, their 5 daughters, trying to get the mother and father trying to get these daughters married off. Anyway, somebody comes to dinner and compliments the steamed potatoes. But he's being very sardonic, and it's like that's the only thing that was really important to him on the table, because that was the only thing that he wanted to talk about, and it was like, duh.
I understand, but I mean, the lowly potato could be pretty darn good.
It actually changed history if you look at its history, and it's a fascinating thing.
Tell me.
Well, it was a food stuff. The potato is native to this hemisphere. It's native to South America. It came about in the highlands of Peru and the Andes, and it was taken over to Europe or east when Columbus and the conquistadores found it and brought it back. It's a member of a family called the nightshade family, which is poisonous plants. But that's only the leaves and other things, obviously. But the point is, it didn't take easily to the diet of France, where it first was propagated widely, in Spain, but it did eventually take off. There's a wonderful story about Louis XVI, who favored the potato not only for its tuber, but also because he loved the purple flowers, which he put in a boutonniere on his vest. They're beautiful purple flowers, and the nightshade family has a lot of beautiful flowers. Anyway, he grew a plot of potatoes at the Tuileries Gardens near the Louvre, what we call the Louvre. That was the royal palace in its day, and but people didn't take to the potato, and so he was doing this just for almost his own benefit. But he would post soldiers at night on the 4 corners of this plot, and people would say, well, what is he protecting? It's just a garden plot. And he would ask the soldiers to leave at dusk, so that the people would say, oh, it's unprotected. Well, this must be very important for the king is protecting this. And so they absconded with some of these plants and planted them in their own gardens. And he did this on purpose. He wanted to make it a forbidden fruit to the Parisians, and so that they would propagate it that way, because he couldn't push it on them. They weren't accepting it. And it was really a kind of an interesting thing. But anyway, the potato became very, very important to the diet of Northern Europe, and also of, as we know, the what came to be called the United Kingdom, especially Ireland. Because it was so nutritious and these people were so numerous, unlike the people in the Incas and the Aztecs in the South America, they became very populous, more populous. I mean, the point is, the potato fed a surge in Malthusian population in Europe, and therefore the power of these empires as they were conquering the world. You can see that actually the potato was instrumental in increasing the political power of countries like Germany and Poland, which became a very big powerhouse in its day. And so it has a historical importance. It didn't do the same thing to the Irish, because they weren't a big population at the time, nor did they have any maritime or army influence. And when the potato plague came about, the blight in the late 1800s, many of these people came to this country. So it changed history in terms of its absence also on the plates of people. And the Irish had an enormous influence on our United States history because of their emigration and their coming to here. Anyway, I think the potato is not just a vegetable that can be enjoyed as such. It has historical significance in terms of what it did to populations in the world.
It's a great story. Next, I can hear about eggplant. It's part of
Yeah.
the same group.
Yeah. Yep. And tomato. The tomato
Yeah.
has a fascinating story. All that you can read on my site, which is, I think, a nice compliment to me that I've offered that up to people. It's right there with some pretty pictures and some recipes in almost every case.
And if I'm not mistaken, aren't there a few videos as well?
Yes, you know, I failed to mention that earlier. One thing that a traditional book can't do is
Oh,
to
really?
house videos. So I've got, I think, around 50 different videos on cooking techniques, how to cook this or that, how to make a risotto a faster way than the normal way, for example, or how to make a hollandaise sauce, and but also quite a few on wine, how to appreciate wine, how to taste wine, how to preserve a half empty bottle, et cetera, et cetera. So
Oh, really?
there
Tell
are
me now. I
there are a
don't
lot
want
of
to go to the page while we're on the air.
yeah, sure. But well, the simplest and easiest way, if you have a half bottle of wine that you don't want to drink right away, which is fine. Most people actually do that. The problem with a half bottle of wine is that there's a lot of oxygen in the upper half of the bottle. And I don't have a bottle with me to illustrate, but you can just imagine in your mind's eye. And that oxygen is dangerous to wine. It helps spoil it. And you can put it in the refrigerator, stave off that spoiling for a couple of days. And then just let the wine warm up if you want to have it room temperature rather than cold, if it's red, say, for example. But the best and easiest way to save a half bottle of wine, and this might happen at a dinner party where you have 4 or 5 half bottles of wine at the end of the night and you don't want to mix them, is to put them in these little sports water bottles. There's just a zillion of those, right? And a Dasani bottle or an Evian half bottle, anything that's small. Just put the remainders of the wine in something like that and close that up. That way you decrease the oxygen that's touching the wine by a very marked amount. I mean, there's no oxygen in there for all intents and purposes.
Oh, darn, I've been doing the right thing without knowing.
Yeah, good. Well, of course, and this is a very simple thing to do. And
Well, I didn't want the whole big box sitting in the refrigerator.
yeah, if you have a box wine, that's another thing. Of course, those things are designed so that they don't let air in, but and there's good box wines, and I know, they've increased the quality enormously over the last, say, 20 years. But that's a simple fix. It's on the website. It explains, shows it to you, in a video form.
Well, you know what? I think you've been great all these years. I think I've known you most of the 40 years. However, you've done a great job in the paper, every place you've gone, writing, whatever. But to me, this is what's current and just really something people can use now.
Yes.
It suits our living now.
Yes. And you can also do it on your phone. I at the beginning I wondered whether I should have a print this button on recipes, which would be nice to have. It just costs a lot of money, actually, and
I saw that.
It's a big setup.
I know that because somebody told me.
And so I talked to some younger people. That is to say, people in their 40s and 30s.
Really young.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, I'm 73, so they are very young to me.
Oh, really?
Penny and I have one of them as a son, actually. The point I'm trying to make is that I talked to them about this business of how do you access recipes, how do you keep recipes. A couple I know that are in their late 30s don't own a printer and haven't for about 5 years now. They don't own a paper printer for anything. Yeah,
that's a riot.
Well, it's just very interesting. They don't need to, because their boarding passes are on their phone. They access my site on their phone. And when they're doing a recipe, they just prop their telephone, what we call a telephone, but they just prop their device up on a little easel in their kitchen and look at it, scroll through it and so forth. Or people do it on their iPad as well. The point is, it is current to use the internet I use it myself to find recipes, so it's easily done. It's the form that many books, so-called books, are taking today, or looked at from a different perspective. It is a book for you if you use it that way.
Okay, it's been great. I am now a potato expert, and I'm still waiting to find out who ate that first artichoke.
Yes, I've been thinking about that. There's a note right here on my desk. I can see it. Who
Every
was the
Wednesday,
first?
it's the
Yeah,
first thing I
you look at the. I haven't figured it out, but I've been doing a lot of thinking and thinking. But honestly, it's a really good question. Who would eat an artichoke the way it's
just
structured?
want to know who ate that first artichoke.
Like eating a porcupine. Like what? Why? What would cause somebody to think about that? So yeah.
Okay, well, as I say, every Wednesday,
All
before I
right.
go into everything else, I just look to see, is artichoke the topic of today?
Okay. Well, in fact, I'll let you know ahead of time so that you don't have to worry about looking.
Oh,
Um, but
okay.
please, if
Good
people
thinking.
see this and want to, get a good book on cooking, that's free. It's billstjohn.com, BILLSTJOHN.com.
And you are great, and it is wonderful. And to all the people who are watching today, I know you're enjoying it as much as I am, but please like and subscribe to the Gab. It's GABB on YouTube, but you'll see this on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. And if you come to my house, you can turn on and see Bill St. John with me all the time. Unfortunately, I don't always cook, but I should take his advice. You're the best, Bill.
Thank you,
Thank
Pat. I really appreciate it. Thank you for
everyone.
taking the time to put me on.
Anytime. Much love.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
hon. Thanks.
And thank you all. Have a great weekend.